Hello, my friends. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about training a donkey to drive today. I want to remind all viewers that I am not an expert, but that I have trained this donkey that's standing here behind me to the extent she's currently trained, and that she's a very well behaved and pleasant animal to work with. She's the second donkey I've ever trained. So, uh, anything that I tell you that I do, I want you to take that advice with a grain of salt. I want you to take it, apply your own knowledge and your own experience, because I can't guarantee that the things that work for me and for her will work for you and your donkey. I can't guarantee you won't get hurt if you follow this advice, and I don't want you to get hurt. So I'm telling you all that. That's the disclaimer. But I want to talk a little bit about training her to drive, because today we drove about a mile and a half, I guess, maybe 2 miles, on a public road with me on the flatbed cart that we use for work that you've seen in my other videos. And I'm going to include a couple of little short clips uh, from my view from on the cart as we were driving. When I first put the bit, first I teach them to lead. I teach them to be calm. I teach them to work without being afraid. You don't ever want to hurt one. You don't ever want to. You want to make this all easy for them and safe for them. The sun's kind of bright when I'm sitting, so I apologize for the squint. Um, and that's in my other videos, and you see it. Before I ever put the lines, right now she's got the bit in her mouth. You can see it. This silver ring here, that's the ring on her bit. The green strap that goes up, that is hooked to the side of her halter, and there's one on each side. And then this black strap here that comes down and hooks to it, that's the lines that I drive her with. They're currently just hanging on a hang on the other side, and I'll show you that. I trained them for a long time before I ever put a bit in their mouth. Uh, and then after, she'd gotten to the point where we could haul hay without any major upsets, and she was calm, and she knew she was safe, and we could go with that. And a few trips ago, a few projects ago, I just put the bit in her mouth, and I didn't hook anything to it except just these green straps that put in place. And there's also a strap under her chin so that it can't pull through. If you pull on this side, you don't want the bit to pull through, so she's got a strap under her chin so that if you do pull on one side, it stays in her mouth. And that stuff all went on before the lines ever went on. So I put the bit in her mouth. Of course, first stage, that upset her quite a bit. It's a weird thing in your mouth. And then the next thing I did, after we worked on the lead rope, our normal relaxed work. You okay, honey? Come here. Come here. You don't like that thing. She doesn't like the video. She doesn't like the camera. She doesn't like it when I talk to people she can't see. So there's two other donks over there behind her, but you can't see. So I put it in her mouth and I work her and I take it out. I put it in her mouth and I work her and I take it out. We did that, I don't know, I don't count really, 3, 4, 5 times, something like that. Until she was calm with it. I mean, the first day I put it in her mouth, I tried to give her a treat and she couldn't even hold the treat in her mouth. She tried to eat the treat and it fell out on the ground. I had to pick it up and hold my hand right up under her lips so it couldn't drop, so that she could manipulate it enough to eat it. And so we did that, and then then we got to where she could eat a treat without dropping it again. And then we got to where she could graze. Here, honey, you want a goodie? So she can eat that without dropping it. And she can eat this hay without dropping it. You see, she got a little dab of hay sticking out of her mouth. She's been very eaten since we worked. Okay, so we did that for several days. And then finally, I put the bit in her mouth. And then I mean, I hooked the lines to the bit because she was such a good girl. And they go through this ring here on the hames to keep her from getting down by her legs. And then there's another ring back there on the back of her harness that they go through so that they don't fall down by her back legs and I can work from behind her. But when I first hooked the lines to it, then we just went ahead and worked again. And then later on that day, when I wanted her to turn left, and I pulled on the lead rope to bring her to my left, and I said the command word that means turn left in donkey speak. And at the same time, I reached up here and I took a hold of this line right behind her hame, and I just pulled on the one that would touch the left side of her mouth. So she had the lead rope and the command and this little bit of pressure. And I did that for that day. But I was still, walking beside her shoulder whenever I grabbed a hold of the lines. I was only about this far back from her, just, not back from her head very far. And so she got the message that this means the same thing that being taken a hold of the lead rope and tugged one way or the other means. So that was the next thing. And then later on that same day, gosh, baby, you can have another one. You're so good. Later on the same day, towards the end of the day, I got back by her rump. No, far behind her. She could still see me, and I could still touch her. She could still feel me. And I used the lines to turn her around in the same spot that we'd been turning around all day. So I always try to add the least smallest new thing that I can, make every step the smallest step it could possibly be, so that she's not subjected to a bunch of new scary stuff. It's like she knows how to do this except this one little thing, and okay, well, I can figure that out. So today, I've been taking her out on the country roads and walking her by the lead rope with the cart on her to teach her that we go distances and to teach her to be exposed to traffic. There's a small amount of traffic on the country roads here where I live. People drive up and down these roads in cars and trucks. They're all courteous because a lot of them, of course, are horse people, and they all know horse people. There ain't a horse or a donkey, but it's similar. And so that gives me a chance to get her used to traffic and used to things, and we just walk up and down the country roads. And, she walks about the same pace I do, so it's comfortable. We can walk miles, and we have. And so today, I took her out on the country roads, and I walked her out about 3 miles, I think. And I didn't. I noticed that my cart the axle had slipped over in the holder and was stuck out one side of the cart and wasn't secure. And so I didn't want to go any farther. I wanted to go home. Well, one thing about any animal, donkey, horse, I don't care what it is, it's easier to get them to go home than it is to get them to leave home. It is really hard. And they, kids go to riding stables and they ride out and the horses walk and eat whatever they can get, hedge apples, whatever. But when they turn back, then the kids, give the horse a gallop, and of course the horse is headed for the barn. He'll gallop for all he's worth. Well, it's the same principle, She wants to come home. So when it came time to come home, I turned her around. She'd had the lines, but I hadn't been using them. I just been using the lead rope. I turned her around and I sat up on the cart, which is a flatbed cart that I can get on and off the side of without having to raise my leg over anything hard. So if it gets really hard, you can get off in a hurry. So I sat up on the cart and I pulled up the lines and I gave her the command to walk. And it spooked her a little. It had me back there, spooked her. a fair amount. We're on the country roads, and it's a gravel road, you know, and there's ditches on both sides and everything. And so she kind of took off running a little bit right there at first, but we had 3 miles of open road between us and home, and she ran, I don't know, 300 yards, 400 yards, not very far. And so then she settled down and walked. I'm going to clip that little bit of that video on here. But hello, Abraham. So we came the whole 3 miles home, and that's the first time she's ever been driven. Now I want to drive this donkey into town. I want to stop using my car to the extent that I'm able, and just use her. And so this is a step on that direction. I'm going to show you her bit. I want you to kind of stay right there so you can see she has the mildest kind of bit there is. That is to say, the bit that puts the least pain and the least discomfort on them. There, honey. You okay? Okay. This is called a mullen mouth bit. It's a curved bar. The curve lays against her tongue and her mouth, so it's curved up away. This is the strap I was talking about that goes, you know, under her chin. These two hold it on the sides of her halter. And this is the mildest bit you can put in her mouth. You don't yank on it, you don't jerk on it. You always treat it mildly. And I'm going to make a little clip if I can, showing you just me holding the lines in my hand, and you can see what light hold it takes to communicate with it. But this is the process by which I personally, not a terrifically knowledgeable person, use to teach a donkey to drive. And she's in heat today, and that causes her a little bit of, you know, emotional upset, but she was still very good. While we're here, here's the rest of the children. Abraham's over here. He's been waiting. And Claire's over here. She's been waiting. She's feeling kind of pitiful. She hasn't gotten any attention. You'll find if you have a small flock of work animals that always the ones who are left in the barn are the ones who fuss and complain and yell and hoo-ha and bray, and the ones who are out on the road with you, they're pretty cool. They're calm. There's no way for him. And here's my Missy. And that's the news. I just kind of wanted to catch you up. Thanks for coming along. On the cart. Go on, baby. Go on. I know I talked. Go ahead, baby. Go on. Go on. That's the girl. Check this off before we get to this big steep hill. She's not going to like it. But I'm riding, and she's